was an evil version of myself that would kind of come out at random moments. He would commit the crimes that I would have to solve as a detective. I'd be like solving murders that I'm committing myself.
She had been involved in a sexual relationship with Mr. Burke when she was a minor and he was an adult.
Justice for the little girl and the parents too.
Her name was Celeste, not David Burke. Celeste Abigail Rivas Hernandez. She was born September 7th, 2010, and was raised in Lake Elsinore, California. She had thick dark curls that showed up in every photo, a soft smile that made her look younger than she was. She loved Hello Kitty in a way only a teenage girl can love something. It was her slippers. She was still figuring out who she was, and that is exactly what made her a target. Because while Celeste was just trying to find her place in the world, someone had already found her. He had been watching for a long time. How does a grown man find a little girl on the internet and nobody in her life notices until it is too late? That question does not have a comfortable answer. But Celeste's story does have a beginning, and it starts earlier than anyone wants to admit. Celeste Abigail Rivas Hernandez was 11 years old, not 15 and not also 17, just 11. And that is how old Celeste was when she first appeared in David World. David Burke had a private online community for his fans called Discord, and somewhere inside that community, Celeste had found her way in. She was 11 years old, and from the very beginning, people in that community were calling her his girlfriend. Let that sit for a moment. An 11-year-old girl being called a grown man's girlfriend by people who saw it happening in real time. And nobody said a word. Nobody pulled her out. Nobody made a call. Nobody protected her. They just watched. When did we become a society that sees a child being groomed in plain sight and looks the other way? Because this is where Celeste's story really begins. Not in a Hollywood Hills home, not in a Tesla trunk, and not also in a tow yard in Los Angeles. It began when she was 11 years old, when she was still young enough to believe that what was happening to her was love, and by the time she was old enough to know better, it was already too late, because her remains had been decomposed and partially dismembered. Celeste's mother knew she had a boyfriend, and his name was David, and that is all she knew. She did not know about the matching tattoos until later. She did not also know about the backstage photos. She did not know that her daughter had been living a second life, one that had started before she was even a teenager. She just knew his name was David, but prosecutors say that behind that name was something criminal. Something that began in September 2023 when Celeste was just 13 years old. A relationship that looked like love to a child who had never been taught what predators look like. They had matching tattoos, the kind couples get, the kind that say I belong to you and you belong to me. Celeste thought she was in love. She thought David loved her back. She had no idea that the moment she decided to speak up, the moment she threatened to tell someone what he had done to her, was the moment that would cost her everything. What does it say about a man who gives a child a matching tattoo and then allegedly kills her to keep her quiet? Celeste trusted him completely, and that trust, according to prosecutors, is exactly what sealed her fate. April 23rd. It was an ordinary morning in Lake Elsinore. Her brother watched her leave the house. She was going to see David, her boyfriend, the one with the matching tattoo, the one who made her feel special and seen and loved. Her brother watched the car pull away, David Burke's car. That was the last time anyone in her family saw Celeste alive. She never came home. Days passed, then weeks. The missing persons poster went up around Lake Elsinore. Her photo, her description, her Hello Kitty slippers, and last seen April 23rd. Meanwhile, David Burke said nothing. When a 14-year-old girl vanishes after visiting a grown man's home, and that man says absolutely nothing, what does his silence tell you? The poster faded in the California sun. While Celeste's family put up her search posters, David Burke put on shows. Night after night, city after city, country after country. His fans packed venues across North America and Europe. They sang his words back to him. They screamed his name. They had no idea what he had done. And in August 2025, for months after Celeste disappeared, someone in his online community typed a message. Drop the one with the missing girl, Celeste Rivas Hernandez. David Burke read it, and he said nothing. He kept performing. He kept smiling on stage. He kept taking the applause. Because while the world was watching him perform, nobody was watching the Tesla. A black Tesla registered in his name, parked on a quiet street in the Hollywood Hills, just sitting there, day after day, week after week. How does a man stand on a stage in front of thousands of people and smile knowing what prosecutors say he knew? That is a question only David Burke can answer. A black Tesla had been sitting on Bluebird Avenue in the Hollywood Hills since late July 2025. Nobody moved it, and nobody claimed it. On September 3rd, it was cited for a parking violation. 2 days later, it was towed to a Hollywood impound yard. It sat there for 3 more days, and then a tow yard worker walked past it and stopped. Because something was wrong. The smell hit him before anything else. Not the kind of smell you brush off. The kind that stops your body before your brain catches up. The kind that tells you without words that something terrible is inside. He called the LAPD. Officers arrived and opened the front trunk. Inside 2 black bags. Inside those bags were what was left of a teenage girl, decomposed, dismembered and stuffed into bags and left in a trunk throughout the California summer heat. The car was registered to David Burke. He was on stage the night before, performing, smiling, and taking applause. The bags were taken away, and somewhere in Lake Elsinore, Celeste Abigail Rivas Hernandez family was still waiting for her to come home. They did not know she had already been found, but in an unusual way. Identifying Celeste took time because her body had been in that trunk through July, through August, into September. The California heat had done its work. The condition of her remains made everything harder, more painful, and more unbearable. The initial autopsy was performed on September 10, 2025, but the full truth, the cause of death, was not confirmed until December 9, 2025. And when it was confirmed, the report was sealed.
On September 8, 2025, Ms. Rivas's dismembered and badly decomposed body was discovered in the front trunk of Mr. Burke's impounded Tesla. From that moment forward, our investigators faced an extraordinarily difficult and complex case. The condition of her remains delayed the medical examiner's ability to be able to determine cause of death. The substantial amount of time that passed between her death and the discovery meant that crucial evidence had degraded or disappeared.
Celeste's family had to wait, in the cruelest kind of silence, knowing she was gone, but not knowing how. When the report was finally unsealed in April 2026, here is what it said. Celeste died from 2 penetrating wounds to her torso, sharp force injuries. 1 pierced her liver, 1 damaged her ribs. She was stabbed. Her body had been dismembered, head removed, arms removed, placed into bags, and hidden in a trunk. The medical examiner noted the decomposition was so severe they could not determine the color of her eyes. They could not tell what color her eyes were. Celeste was identified. Her manner of death ruled a homicide. November 2025, 5 months after Celeste disappeared, 2 months after her remains were found in his car. The LAPD publicly named David Burke a suspect. They stood before cameras and said accountability is coming. They said no one was off the table. And then nothing happened. The memorial outside her home in Lake Elsinore, the flowers, candles, and stuffed animals stayed there through the winter. Then on April 16, 2026, nearly 1 full year after Celeste walked out in her Hello Kitty slippers, the LAPD arrested David Burke.
Major breaking news now. Detectives from the Los Angeles Police Department Robbery Homicide Division have arrested singer David Burke for the murder of Celeste Rivas.
She had been gone for 1 year before they put him in handcuffs. On April 20th, 2026, David Burke stood in a Los Angeles courtroom. The charges were read aloud. First-degree murder, sexual abuse of a child under 14, and mutilation of a body. These were charges that make this case eligible for the death penalty. The Los Angeles District Attorney said David Burke killed Celeste to protect his music career, that she had threatened to expose what he had done to her, that she was not just his victim, she was his witness. David Burke pleaded not guilty. He sat in court in orange jail clothes. He spoke only twice. Yes, ma'am. That was all he said. Prosecutors say they have his phone, his iCloud, forensic evidence, and witness testimony from 3 separate grand juries. The preliminary hearing begins May 1st, 2026. What they reveal could change everything, or it could confirm what her family has known since the moment she didn't come home. We do not know yet. Celeste Abigail Rivas Hernandez was 14 years old. She had thick dark curls and a soft smile, and a Hello Kitty slippers, and a whole life waiting for her. She met him when she was 11. She walked into his house on April 23rd, 2025. and she never walked back out. Her family is still waiting for justice, still waiting for a trial, still waiting for someone to stand in a courtroom and answer for what happened to their daughter. There is no verdict. There is no closure. And the question that should stay with every single one of us is this. Right now, somewhere, there is another child in another private server talking to someone she thinks loves her, and nobody around her knows. What are we going to do about that? The hearing begins May 1st. We will be watching. No verdict. No closure. Not yet.